of business. It's the big business. You make the cash. I was a rich man when I was in that kind of business. Now I'm a poor man. Well, the difference is now I'm an honest man. Before I was a crook. That is something that people are waiting for. Everybody's waiting for 2012. Why they're waiting for 2012? Why? Because they are hoping that this will lead to somehow a cosmic consciousness and the unveiling of certain energy. And that's true. Why? Because you are a corrupt nation, subservient to a Vatican, subservient to the Zionists, subservient to a new world order that, in my opinion, is completely corrupt. These elections, we support the Democrats. So Republicans are not on the list of support of the Illuminati. They can't make it. McCain can climb walls, can do whatever he wants. He's not going to become anything. And you go and study the history of the Vatican, you will find that from Papa Onofre to many other popes in the Vatican, they have been practicing magicians, parts of Freemasonry, Grand Masters from various traditions, sometimes officially not recognizing each other, but still meeting there. Why? Because the Comedy of Monte Carlo is a weapon dealer's place. Because it's all about weapons. A conspiracy, if we want, to create Adolf Hitler and make sure that this being did what he did so they could then claim the Israel state. Everything in plan, so for the end of times the Jews have their land. If you knew in reality what these entities were, you will not even touch them, you would just drove the other way. A Jesuit contacted an Italian journalist in the UFO scene and spread a certain amount of disinformation, including the fact that the CIV was still the greatest intelligence in the Vatican. With what? With 100 people, a couple of Benedictine monks, a couple of nuns, and the Vatican includes millions of members worldwide. They all function as intelligence from the beginning of time. I want to know more about the entities. Now, who is spreading this? How they think? Zaccaria Sitchin met with Corrado Balducci. Who is Corrado Balducci? Corrado Balducci is not only the official spokesman for the UFO in the Vatican. You understand? This is just a front. Who is he? He's a demonologist. Anytime they accuse the American Indians, oh, these are pagans, what are they doing to us? So we have to do science, observe the stars. Oh, rubbish. If it is to create a fraternal bond of death, like the order of death in the Skull and Bones, then a human sacrifice is required. What is magic? The magic is the calculation of the arts with peculiar calculations around the symbols to evoke certain entities and have from them, if you want, certain gratifications. The Vatican Library, and we have a lot of ancient artifacts, ancient books, very rare texts that could revolutionize the thought of mankind. But as I said, because we will have to go to the next stage of existence in one way or another, the Vatican wants to adapt. So how they adapt? They adapted with Corrado Balducci and the whole alien revolution coming into the Vatican, Secretum Omega and a couple of UFOs, and everybody's happy. Because it's a tendency in humankind to have the worship for these entities that can give you terrestrial power. We were talking about Anunnaki, we were talking about Nephilim, but there is these entities come from other dimensions, other places in this universe. They can cross over into this dimension if we evoke them, if we call them.
Bohemian Grove is
Bohemian Grove is a different kind of initiation. There they like to dress up in even more fancy clothes, usually Republicans, a lot of whores. A lot of prostitution goes on during the nights of Bohemian Grove.
A fake sacrifice ceremony or a real sacrifice?
That most of the people in the mind control sectors of the intelligence units, the people who are taking control of the PSYOPs operations, they are occultists. Because occultism and black magic is the most ancient form of military tool known to mankind. At the end, there will be a war, and there will be dead people on the ground. Because the moment they want to microchip me, I'm going to take out a gun and shoot at them.
Hi, I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot. We're here today with Leo Zagami, and we're going to be covering the Illuminati and their role on the world scene and exactly what their MO is, as well as their agenda. All right? So welcome, Leo, and thank you very much for bringing us into your house. We're very excited to be here with you today and be able to get a picture of the kinds of things that you've been part of in the past, and maybe your vision as to where things might be going in the future as well.
My name is Leo Lion Zagami. I'm now 37, soon to be 38, born the 5th of March 1970, from an English-Scottish mother and a Sicilian father, both of aristocratic origin. One represents the Di Gregorio family of Sicily, which is an ancient aristocratic family connected to the Sacred Roman Empire, while instead my mother is a Lion family member of the Scottish Lion family, which is also the family of the Queen Mother of England, connected to the Queen. So basically I was born within an aristocratic background. For that reason it was possible for me from an early age to enter what is the world of the elite and what you know as the Illuminati, that are still existing today in various forms and different disguises and different names. But mainly they work for a pyramid of power that ends up in Jerusalem and Rome, and that represents both the Vatican and the Zionist establishment, together united to perform what they would like to be the New World Order, which is the result of their prophetic upbringing into this end-of-time scenario in which they see as a final result the kingdom of God. Now the kingdom of God perceived by the dark Illuminati, as I call them, because we have also Illuminati that are truly illuminated by God, and then we have the corrupt Illuminati, the evil forms of corruption that came into being, and at that point to regain power, which they did, they unleashed a series of agents around all these secret societies of the time, and they also established and helped establish the Illuminati Order of Weishaupt, which saw within their members some very illustrious characters, like for example Napoleon, who was initiated himself by Cagliostro, Giuseppe Balsamo, when he was a young lieutenant coming from Corsica. And this changed the history of Europe, because the great influence of the Jesuits upon, for example, Napoleon made sure that there was a clear revenge against what was perceived to be the enemies of the Vatican themselves at that time, the Jesuits, a clear revenge towards their enemies inside the Vatican, and this might have been also the Knights of Malta, that in that period with Napoleon lose, for example, their island and their sovereignty on that island.
Okay, can you give me a definition of the Freemasons and how the Freemasons differ from the Illuminati?
The Freemasons come into being from a tradition which is both from the ancient craftsmen. They used to work within the churches, so the people who knew how to construct churches were the Masons. They transmitted this craft, and on top of that, the knowledge to build those churches was a sacred knowledge, and that knowledge was given to them by the Knights Templars, that were the ones who traveled far east and conquered the land of Jerusalem and made sure that for a long time the Vatican was in control of the Holy Land. And so there is basically an ancient tradition that forms the Freemasons, but it's a self-made sometimes tradition with a lot of legends that have been deliberately created to misguide people and manipulate them. So then we have also the birth of the high degrees of Freemasonry, which are typical to what is known as the Scottish Rite system, for example with Cavalier Ramsay, which represented the Stuart family, which was a Scottish family that wanted to get into the throne of England for a long period of time, but the Hanoverians had their best, and the Hanoverians created themselves their own form of Freemasonry. So in a way Freemasonry was born with these two different oppositions inside, but they were oppositions just for the lower level of the pyramid, because on top everything is united, even the enemies.
You're saying the Freemasons and the Illuminati were united at the top of the pyramid, even back then?
Freemasons are themselves a creation of the Rosicrucians, okay? Now, where do the Rosicrucians come from? The Rosicrucian Enlightenment comes into being in the 1620s with a guy called Jan Valentin Andre. He spreads these Rosicrucian manifestos that are secretly put in various places where people can see that there is a secret order, a secret college of initiated beings that existed from before. So they claimed that they were already an old order back then. But who are really the Rosicrucians? Well, the birth of the Rosicrucian coincides with the Neoplatonics of Oxford, with what happened when Giordano Bruno, this important Dominican who was also put on the stake later on by the Vatican in the year 1600,